Princess Aelith Virex had seen her own coronation 7,000 times. She'd seen the banners rise, the stars align above the crystal spires of Thriss Prime, and her people bow in perfect synchronization. She'd seen 14 assassination attempts, each one neutralized before it was even tried. She saw the wars that never happened, the treaties that always did, and the exact second of her own death, neatly scheduled 931 years in the future. Nothing in the universe surprised her. Until me. The moment the human delegation entered the Imperial Hall, her future sight fractured. Not blurred, not clouded, gone. She froze mid-step, her regal composure faltering for the first time in centuries. Around her, the future still flowed, threads of light and probability branching endlessly from every alien in the chamber. Every general, every noble, every servant. But when her gaze touched the human male standing at the back of the delegation, there was nothing. No paths, no echoes, no destiny. Just a blank void where a future should have been. Princess Aelith inhaled sharply. That had never happened before. I wasn't supposed to be important. My name is Ethan Cole, systems analyst, low-rank civilian attachment. I wasn't military, I wasn't a politician. I was there because humans insisted on transparency, and someone needed to explain our tech in simple terms. I noticed the princess staring at me, and I mean really staring. Golden skin etched with faint bioluminescent lines, eyes like fractured starlight, tall and regal in a way that made the room feel smaller around her. Alien royalty wasn't subtle. It pressed down on you, a physical weight of authority. I shifted awkwardly under her intense gaze and mouthed, "Is there something on my face?" Her eyes widened in shock. I had just done something no one ever did. I had acted without Destiny's permission. That night, Aelith broke Imperial protocol for the first time in her 9 centuries of life. She summoned me privately, no guards, no seers, no future anchors humming in the walls. Just her and me. The air in her private chambers was thick with an energy I couldn't name. "You," she said, her voice calm but layered with a tension that radiated from her like heat. "Explain yourself." I blinked, completely lost. Which part?" She stepped closer, her starlight eyes searching mine. "You exist," she said, "outside causality." That got my attention. She explained her ability with clinical precision, how her species had evolved beyond uncertainty, how royalty were bred with enhanced temporal perception, how she had never once made a decision, not one, without seeing its outcome first. "And then," she said softly, her voice losing its edge, "you walked into my sight, and destiny went silent." I swallowed hard, the scale of what she was saying finally sinking in. "So, I'm a glitch?" Her lips curved. Not a smile, not yet, but something close. "You are chaos," she corrected, "and I cannot stop thinking about you." She started keeping me close. Officially, I was assigned as her human cultural liaison, a fancy title for a glorified tour guide. Unofficially, I was her addiction. She would summon me at all hours, asking questions no one else ever had the courage or the freedom to ask. Why do humans make decisions without knowing the outcome? She'd wonder, her head tilted in genuine confusion. Why do you take risks you cannot calculate? And my personal favorite, why did you look me in the eyes instead of bowing? I answered honestly every time. Because if we wait to be sure, we'd never live. That answer seemed to haunt her. It followed her into her dreams. And for the first time in centuries, she began having dreams. The Empire noticed. Whispers spread through the gilded halls of the palace like a virus. The princess hesitated before decisions. She paused before commands. She delayed actions she once executed instantly. She was uncertain, a dangerous word in an empire built on absolute knowledge. And then the rebels struck. An explosion rocked the outer palace wing, and Aelith did what she always did. She reached for the future, for the threads of destiny that would guide her. But for the first time in her life, she saw nothing. Only a single defiant shape moved in that void of possibility. Me. The attack was fast, coordinated, deadly. Royal guards fell back, their movements clumsy and confused by orders that came seconds too late. The seer nets, the Empire's precognitive intelligence network, screamed with contradictory predictions. The palace, a fortress built on the bedrock of certainty, was unraveling into chaos. Amidst the screams and the shimmering energy blasts, I grabbed her arm. "Princess," I said, breathless, my heart hammering against my ribs, "trust me." Her eyes, those beautiful, terrified, starlight eyes, locked onto mine. There was no future to consult, no destiny to follow, only a choice. She nodded. Humans don't fight like aliens expect. We don't rely on elegance or honor or ritual combat. We adapt. We improvise. I led her through maintenance corridors the rebels didn't know existed, their schematics a blind spot in their otherwise perfect intelligence. I used plasma cutters and maintenance drones, tools never designed as weapons, to create diversions and traps. I triggered fire suppression systems meant for convenience and turned the hallways into a chaotic maze of foam and steam. When we were cornered, I didn't calculate odds. I acted. A rebel lunged for Aelith, his energy blade humming with malice. I didn't think. I just moved. I broke him. Later, after the fighting had died down, she would stare at my blood-soaked hands in silence. Not with fear, but with awe. When it was over, the palace burned in controlled containment fields. The rebels were neutralized and command was restored. The Empire survived. But something else had changed, something far more profound. Aelith stood on a high balcony overlooking the city, the stars reflecting in her eyes like 1,000 unspoken questions. "All my life," she said quietly, her voice barely a whisper against the wind, "I believed certainty was power." She turned to me, the faint glow of her bioluminescent markings illuminating her face. "But today, uncertainty saved me." I exhaled slowly, the adrenaline finally leaving my system. "Welcome to being human," I said. She smiled, a real one, the kind she had never seen in any of her 7,000 futures. The Imperial Council demanded explanations. They were furious, terrified. They wanted her to distance herself from the anomaly, from me. She refused. They demanded I be removed, sent back to Earth, erased from their perfectly ordered existence. She laughed in their faces, a sound so unexpected it silenced the entire chamber. When they asked why she would risk the Empire's stability for one unpredictable, insignificant human, she answered simply, her voice ringing with newfound strength, "Because for the first time, I am choosing." On the night before the human delegation was set to leave, she came to my quarters alone. No crown, no guards, no destiny, just Aelith. "Stay," she said. It wasn't a command from a princess to a subject. It was a request. I searched her face, looking for any hint of her old self, the all-seeing monarch. "You sure? No visions this time?" She shook her head, a small, definite movement. "I don't want to see the future," she said softly, her voice filled with a vulnerability I'd never heard before. "I want to live it." I took her hand. It was warm, real. For the first time, her future wasn't written. It was a blank page, and she wouldn't have traded that for the entire universe. She had seen every possible tomorrow, but she chose the one she couldn't see, because it had a human standing in it. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more.